In this game, you play as your local deadbeat dad Doug, a man who is surprisingly athletic considering he is dying of lung cancer. You'll be traversing 8 worlds born of your deepest, darkest fears. 13 if Chapter 5 ever releases. All because a hot goth mommy told you to. Can't say I really blame Doug for this one. She may have committed matricide and sacrificed children, but I can fix her. Each level dives into a fragment of your troubled and sinful past, such as that time you cheated on your wife with your secretary, aptly represented by monkeys with knives for hands, or your relationship with your abusive mother, as shown through jihadist teddy bears. And wait, is that Five Nights at Freddy's? Your goal in each of these levels is to collect the JO crystals left behind by your bros, so you can use their essence to recharge the altar at the centre of the stage and collect a piece of an all-powerful ring. No, not that one. This one. It's called the Riddle of Heaven. Goth Mommy Base needs that ring so she can become a strong, independent woman who don't need no husband, and to fight some dude named Malik. Is that the devil from the Bible? The more ring pieces you collect, the more back alley brain surgery Beers can perform on you, giving you superpowers. Beers, how come I can smell the colour purple? Oh, don't worry about that. You can turn invisible now. So come along as we take a trip through dark deception, featuring terrifying monsters, plenty of jump scares, and a plethora of game-breaking bugs. The first level, Monkey Business, has us venturing through the halls of a creepy old hotel. A similar hotel to where Doug had his affair, except this time with murder monkeys instead of a sexy secretary. But before we meet them, we need to hop on an elevator, just past the leading cause for heart attacks in VTubers. Once we reach our destination, Biss will hand us our iPad so we can play Subway Surfers while she provides unimportant exposition.
A very clever girl, just not a very fast runner.
Yeah, I'm sure that won't become relevant later. Now it's time for the actual game. Have you ever wondered what Pac-Man would be like in first person? No? Well, you're about to find out. Collect the shards and don't get caught by the knife hand monkeys. Oh yeah, the monkeys. There's 3 of them. There used to be 4 back in my day, so think yourself lucky. They aren't particularly fast, but they are very good at surrounding you in those tight hotel corridors. The best way to avoid letting monkeys treat you like the frog from that video I saw on Reddit one time that I'll never unsee, is to listen carefully to the movements of the monkeys as their footsteps are very loud, so you can sort of keep tabs on where they are, allowing you to prevent yourself from getting surrounded or caught around a corner. Or you can hope they get caught in a door frame, sometimes rendering them immobile. Have I mentioned this game's a bit glitchy? Collect all the shards and all the monkeys will turn into chefs for some reason. Return to the elevator and congrats, you have your first ring piece, only 8 more to go. Now run on home to mommy through that portal and then realise you forgot to buy the rest of the game and it was just the tutorial. So after purchasing the rest of the chapters of the game and supporting the developer to recover legal costs after a lawsuit by Coca-Cola Company thinking that they owned the word monster, I'm not kidding, that actually happened, we're introduced to Makoto Yuki's evil alter ego. This is Malik and he's currently a door with severe conjunctivitis. He tries to tell us not to help Bierce, but when have I ever listened to a door? I've pushed doors that say pulled many times, but I've never not listened to a hot goth lady when she tells me what to do. Apparently Malik is an all-powerful demon and the ring we're collecting is called the Riddle of Heaven and contains his power, which we could use to achieve anything we want. For lore reasons we'll learn later, this piques Doug's interest, so he jumps straight through the next portal and immediately into a wall. A wall! Oh no! Doug exclaims. Bierce, ever present in our brain and always watching, lets us know that the Kool-Aid Man will not be helping us burst through this wall, because he's in a much deeper layer of hell. So we will have to be satisfied with the power of super speed instead. With our newfound demonic powers, we run right on through into the next level. So we managed to survive murder monkeys. How could things possibly get worse than that?
Boom. A child.
Yes, welcome to Elementary Evil, where we're greeted by Little Miss Salad Fingers. Her name is Agatha, and she'll make you never want to have children. She also really hates Bierce for some reason. Now the most important thing to do first in this level is to head immediately around and to the right to where the ring altar is and interact with the slide. Whee! Okay, now we've completed the legendary slide percent, yes there is a real speedrun category, we can continue on with the level. Every monster in this game works a little bit differently from each other, each with their own unique strengths and weaknesses. In Agatha's case, the best way to describe her gameplay is like hide and seek. She doesn't lock in on your location at all times like the monkeys did. Instead, she will wander the halls aimlessly and slowly until you open a door, alerting her to your location. and you best hope she doesn't spot you, because getting in her line of sight makes her scream and move towards you at a very high speed. The best way to counter her is to listen for her taunts and try to avoid crossing paths with her, but if she does spot you, use your newly acquired speed boost to get away and close doors behind you, as she can't open doors with those long fingers and needs to spend time teleporting through them instead. Another fun strategy involves the slide. See, I told you it was important. If Agatha spots you and follows you into the playground area, simply use speed boost and loop her around the slide, then close the doors behind you. For some reason, Agatha refuses to open or teleport through these doors, completely erasing the danger of Zone 1. Oh yeah, there's two parts to this level. After collecting all shards in this area, you'll have to pass by our favourite slide again to get to Zone 2. Don't worry, Agatha won't be there still, she despawns once you collect all the first zone shards. Malik appears and just kind of walks by without saying anything. I know he's the devil, but still kind of rude to not even say hi, man. Now this is where shit gets real. Agatha is pissed we locked her in the playground. She just doesn't appreciate Mr. Slide like we do. The gameplay of this zone is mostly the same as the first, except she will now resort to bullshit random teleportation occasionally, so sometimes you'll just die because she teleported right in front of you. After surviving RNG, you just have to go back and collect the ring piece, but Agatha will try to get her own back by locking us in the playground this time, and telling us that we made her daddy angry. Huh, Malik, I didn't know you were a Minecraft YouTuber. Unfortunately for Agatha and Daddy Malik, we know how to open doors. Now we just have to run back to the entrance, ignoring those fake portals. I'm sure there's meant to be a penalty for running through them, but I'm not sure they actually do anything. As you try to leave, Agatha will block you off again and force you into one of the worst designed boss fights of all time. Run around in circles for 2 minutes and hope you don't randomly explode. It might feel like you're supposed to do something, but you'd be wrong. In fact, one of the best strategies for this fight is to actually get up on stage and sit in a corner and wait for it to be over. This is easier if you're replaying and already have the teleport ability, but from a new game it is still possible, just very difficult to pull off, as you need to kind of ram yourself into the stairs and hope you jump up onto the stage. Whichever strategy you choose, once the 2 minutes are up, you're free to leave that child and go get milk and cigarettes and never return. Huh, that seems important. Oh well, what superpower do we get next? Teleportation. While it may look unassuming at first, this is one of the most powerful powers in the game, as it unlocks a large number of useful glitches later on, and it's also great for saving time or dodging enemies, because you can teleport through things. Kinda like how Agatha could teleport through closed doors. Wait, did we steal her power? Anyways, we better prepare ourselves, because if they're giving us such a strong new skill, you bet your ass they're gonna up the ante for the enemies of the next level as well. Welcome to Deadly Decadence. If the Weeping Angels episode of Doctor Who traumatized you as a child, look away now. Actually don't. That would be a terrible idea, because not watching these statues is exactly what allows them to move. Rather quickly, I might add, and if you're not careful they'll come up behind you and kill you, or worse, give you unsolicited ASMR. Psst. These are the gold members. Sorry, I mean the gold watchers. They love gold! And this is by far the hardest, most unforgiving level in the whole game. And back before checkpoints saved how many soul shards you've collected, this level was infamous as a roadblock for many players, and was the cause of many, many rage quits.
I'm done. No, that's just not fun. No, I'm good.
To this day, the strategy for this level is still one of the highest rated Steam guides for the game. My advice for facing these enemies? Have confidence. It's best to keep moving against these enemies, because if you hesitate, you can quickly become surrounded, which is almost guaranteed death at that point. If you do find yourself surrounded, there is a chance you might be able to use your teleport to slip past the statue blocking your way, but this can be risky. Okay, let's head into the first zone of this level, a garden maze. And in case you didn't think this level was hard enough based on the enemies alone, BS warns us there's also many traps, and they're not the fun kind. The maze isn't too big, so if you're able to group up all 3 of the statues, you can hold them all in one place by remembering where you left them and keeping focused on that point. Just don't forget about the many giant floor spears. Once you've collected all the shards in this area, you're free to head on into the manor. And this is where the difficulty ramps way up. There's now 7 gold watchers, a map that's much too large to easily group them all together, with many narrow hallways to get surrounded in, and lots of traps literally everywhere. And if that wasn't bad enough, sometimes you can get grabbed through a wall, or if you run too quick when starting the level, you can actually run into a gold watcher as it spawns in. This level is brutal, and there's no cheesy method of making it any easier, so the only way forward is to get good, as they say. After collecting all the shards and losing a portion of your sanity in the process, Malak will spawn in and begin chasing you down as well. As you head back to the center room to collect the ring piece, you'll notice that it's guarded by 3 more watchers. A great way to avoid these enemies whilst also saving a bit of time is to use a cheeky teleport as you come down the hallway to hop over the banister. Just ignore the loud crunch your legs make as you stick the landing and collect that ring piece. Boy, that was difficult. Surely that's it now, right? What else could they possibly... Oh, come on! Try to avoid the 6 gold watchers plus Malak while the gold titan throws axes at you, and try to make the thrown axes hit the lock on the gate to break it. After 2 to 3 hits, the lock should have broken and escape will be in sight. Oh no, not again. Teleport through everything and into the portal and get your ass out of there. I never want to see another one of those damn statues ever again. After Dorkun tries to tell us not to trust the goth lady again, immediately after trying to kill us himself, it's on to the next level, but not before acquiring probably the worst skill in the game. I'm sure telepathy has its uses, but personally I just don't bother leveling it up at all. Your eyes and ears are far more useful than a little red fart cloud. Stranger Sewers. This level is actually quite relaxing compared to the previous level. Well, aside from the free jump scare you get before entering the first zone. The intended strategy for this level is to navigate the sewer system and use telepathy to determine which duckies are the sussy imposters, and avoid getting too close, otherwise you'll wake them up and they'll chase you. But I've played too much Amogus for that. I prefer to just blindly guess, and if you do wake one up, it's not so bad. They might be faster than you in the water, but sometimes they'll just opt to stun you instead of killing you, and you can always use your speed boost or teleport to juke them. You can also use the secret elevators, and if you wait long enough the duckies will eventually just give up chasing you. All in all, this level is not difficult, so when it comes to speedruns for this level, it's all about planning the most efficient routes, though I sure wish there was a way to make these doors open faster. But wait, there is! Hi, I'm here to introduce you to Easy Mode! Do you need doors in this one specific level to open slightly faster? Do you think hitting a giant clown twice is one too many times? Introducing Easy Mode! Switch anytime in the options menu now! So now we can move slightly quicker through this level, let's collect the rest of the shards for this area, and then kill ourselves. Well, you don't have to, especially if you're trying to S-rank the level, but it does save us walking through the gross poopy water all the way back to the centre of the map. This is because dying after collecting all the shards in Zone 1 of this level will teleport you straight to the checkpoint at the start of Zone 2. This is what's known as death warping, and speedrunners especially will use this technique frequently as a way to quickly teleport around the map. There are many useful ways to death warp in every level, but this is one of the most significant single warp time saves you can do, and its efficiency is quite obvious here, hence why I thought I'd explain it now. What's also unique in Dark Deception speedruns is that you pause your timer for death screens, making death warping huge for time saves on the quicker runs. It seems oddly appropriate that in a game about hell, the best players are the ones who can die multiple times and most efficiently. Anyways, Zone 2 is pretty much the same as Zone 1, so get to collecting them shards and we can go grab our 4th ring piece. Daddy Malak is back to call us Bierce's pet, as if that's an insult and I'm not into it, and that he also has a pet of his own. And it must be a pit bull because it's killed like way more kids than we have. Then he brings out his pet, and we say that's not a fucking pit bull, that's man-made horrors beyond my comprehension. His name is Doom Ducky, but I prefer to call him Mr. Hands. In order to put down this abomination, make sure to not get too close and dodge the ducks it throws at you. When it looks like he's charging up an attack, hide behind one of these conveniently placed pillars and hope he doesn't clip through it. If successful, it will stun him momentarily, while simultaneously permanently weakening the structural integrity of this facility. Turn the valve in the middle to progress. You need to do this 4 times total, 2 on each side, and as you progress, a couple of other duckies will come and chase you around, making things a little harder. Now, if you're an epic gamer, there's a neat trick you can use to speed up this fight. Double click the valve and you'll notice it continues to turn even as you move away, so long as you keep holding down left click. You may not be able to use your powers while turning the valve like this, but it does mean you can move and don't need to always wait to stun him to progress. After the 4th time you do this, you're free to leave back through Zone 1, but not before a really intense chase sequence. Or it would be until you remember you have superpowers and you can easily create distance by speed boosting and teleporting away. Just make sure to avoid the last ducky and a cheap shot through the wall, and you're free to go home and take a shower. Malak calls us a meat sack, which frankly I don't think is very nice before Bierce gives us the power to mind crush everybody within our immediate proximity. This power is called Primal Fear, and it'll be your new best friend, so make sure to upgrade it plenty. Crazy Carnival! One of my favourite things about this level is how Beers calls out my viewers every time I stream the game.
Now children just sit around and what? Watch others play video games.
Following the creepy clown car into the carnival tent and pushing the suspicious giant red button sends us straight to horny jail. Do not pass go, do not collect 200 soul shards. Sweet Tooth's children decide to show off their sick drifting skills, making me yearn for a new Twisted Metal game. Luckily, killing people with your mind is a very effective method for breaking out of prison, so it's not long before we're out and back on our way to Zone 1. Welcome to Zone 1. Yeah, let's just bring these settings down a little bit, shall we? Good news! If you enjoyed Mr. Slide and Elementary Evil, you're gonna love this. Just watch your coccyx on the loop-de-loop. This level is a walking simulator. The few shards here are all very spread out across 2 floors that you can switch between using green portals. With 2 clown cars on each floor that will slowly chase you, and if they manage to get close to you, will still park better than most BMW drivers and spew out clown gremlins to chase you. In this level, it's rare to get cornered by these guys, but if they do get too close, use your primal fear to stun both them and the cars. The real danger of this area is the traps. Giant mallets and jack-in-the-boxes. If you're not paying attention, it's easy to miss time and get yourself killed, so the safest bet is to teleport or speed boost through them. After collecting all the shards from both layers, a portal will open up into the next area. Every good game needs the elevator fight trope, and this is no exception. Thankfully, Agatha prepared us for this, and after running in circles for about a minute, we can move on to Zone 2. Just don't be too eager about leaving the elevator. Going through this portal too quickly can actually softlock the game. This is the kind of roller coaster I imagine you'd find at a Christian theme park, called something like Your Brain on Drugs, where they try and scare you off using drugs, but it actually has the opposite effect, because now I'm just curious what other wacky shit I might be able to see. Alright, Zone 2. In its concept, this is one of my favourite zones in the game. A creepy funhouse aesthetic, with lots of variety in areas and unique traps. But again, the enemies don't pose too much of a threat here. The clown gremlins will walk around in groups of 5, and if they spot you, they will start to chase you. Just make sure not to get caught out without your primal fear ready, and you'll usually be alright. But if you do get spotted with it on cooldown, there's always the option of running to the outer edge of the map onto the train tracks. It's very rare for the clown gremlins to come into this area. The only thing you need to watch out for is... trains. Yeah, the train along with the cannon traps are the deadliest part of this zone. But if you can master using your teleport to jump through the train, this area is actually relatively safe, allowing you to circle the whole map and occasionally run in and collect a room of shards. This is made even easier when the train guy gets stuck occasionally. Collect all the shards, go through the exit portal to claim your 5th ring piece. Now, what could possibly be better than an elevator fight sequence? A second elevator fight sequence, this time with 2 clown gremlins. You'll need to run around in circles again for a minute, but there's no harm in mind crushing the little bastards to play it safe if you'd like. Mind the doors on your way out, they're a little sharp around the edges. That wasn't so bad. Sure beats exploring a sewer or fighting a giant version of the level's main enemy. Really? Again? After whipping out a mallet that I suppose we had this whole time and never thought to use, out of our comedically large pockets, we're ready for some whack-a-mole. Except the moles are giant fluorescent clown gremlins. The big clowns will spit out a bunch of the little gremlins, but don't waste your time on them as they'll just keep spawning more every time you kill one. Instead, run directly underneath one of the Goliaths and they will telegraph their attack more than a boss in an MMORPG. Because we switched to easy mode in the last level, these guys will each die in one hit, so do that 3 more times and we can finally leave this place. Just be careful, Malak sometimes likes to camp right in the way of where you need to go, so just loop him around the merry-go-round if you have to. When we get back to Bierce's ballroom, Malak tries to be as threatening as a door can be again, and tells us not to give up the ring piece to Bierce. Unfortunately for Malak, the power we unlock from the 5th ring piece is telekinesis, which is by far the best power in the game. So even if he hadn't been constantly trying to kill us, I'd still give it to her. Max out the power if you can, then realise Bierce forgot to take her pills today, as she confuses collecting this single shard with finishing monkey business.
Get to the ring piece before Mr. Monkey finds you.
Okay.
Torment therapy. Head inside and... oh, not you fuckers again. Hang on, I'm getting a phone call. Look, Mr. Sunak, I know it looks like a fun idea, but I don't think putting a strip club in the hospitals is going to solve the issues we're having with the NHS. But I suppose it might help with funding. Now we have the strongest powers, we should be ready to face the scariest segment this game has to offer. talking to women. Hey girl, are you from Mississippi? Cause you're the only miss whose piss I wanna sippy. Damn it, this always happens! Probably for the best, we are swiftly escorted out of the room and taken to therapy. And obviously the first stage of therapy is to get lit. But Doug ain't cool like that, and passes on the idea. Next up is acupuncture, but I've been traumatized by that one episode of 1,000 Ways to Die, so let's get out of here. I just don't see how getting stabbed by a bunch of needles could be relaxing. When all else fails, lock them in a room and hope they get better on their own. Seems these nurses have been taking notes from the UK psych wards. Look, I know they're comfy, but we don't have time to wait around for our complimentary grippy socks. We need to move on with this level. Oh, sorry ma'am. I was just looking for the bathroom. Uh-oh. Cheese it! Break down these types of doors. Whatever you do, don't teleport through them. You'll softlock the level and we'll have to redo that whole intro sequence again. We asked the nurse what her favourite Persona meme is.
You'll never see it coming.
And we can finally head on over to Zone 1 of this level. We just need to get decontaminated first and... Wait, what the hell? Don't just teleport past decontamination. You'll bring all your nasty-ass germs into the patient areas. Wait, are there even any patients here? I'm starting to think these aren't even real nurses, you know. Next time we see one, we should definitely ask to see their medical license. Except that's exactly the issue with these enemies. You won't see them. They're invisible. And while we take an eternity to break down this door, let's talk about how to tackle the nurses and what to expect in Zone 1. From now on, you'll probably want to keep your new telekinesis power on you at all times, so you can be constantly using it whenever it's off cooldown. Yeah, it's that good. Especially on such a narrow level like this, you can grab all the shards from the edges of the map without risking getting cornered. The 3 Reaper nurses here will roam around and you'll hear them before you see them. Listen out for their skating noises to avoid them, but don't worry if they do spot you. They'll announce their presence if they see you before chasing you. Just imagine if that happened while you were playing any stealth game. I'm trying to sneak around, but for some reason my loud-ass taunts keep alerting the guards. Then try not doing that. Once they've spotted you, it will be difficult to get away. They are very fast and can throw pills at you that will stun you if you aren't careful. They will often wait until they're close enough to diagnose you with dead before decloaking. But before that can happen, it's best to use your primal fear to stun any nearby nurses and speed boost yourself away to create some distance. Oh right, one last thing, watch out for the defibrillators. Ah, there we go, finally! Now go collect up those shards and let's move on to Zone 2. On our way there, 2 nurses will jump off of a building to start chasing us. And I don't know what's more impressive, the fact their legs didn't shatter on impact with the concrete from that height, or the fact they landed with perfect balance in roller skates. But we can think about that later. You better start running and teleport on top of the ambulance to catch a ride to the next area. Now that's a whole lot of woman, god damn. While Doug is distracted discovering that he might have macrophilia, a Reaper nurse is able to sneak up behind and opts to knock us out instead of just killing us. I guess installing a giant needle wall into a prison cell must have been pretty expensive and she was just looking for an excuse to actually use it. Unfortunately for her, like every other lock in this place, this one is also made out of hopes and dreams, so it doesn't take much rattling to fall apart. Just don't stick around too long after breaking out. Sometimes if you watch the needle wall fall all the way down, Doug might just have a heart attack thinking about what could have happened. What? What killed me? Now we just need to sneak past all of these Reaper nurses and the matron in order to get into Zone 2. Avoid their gaze and teleport into blind spots and... Oh wait, stealth is optional, brain blast those bitches! Zone 2 has 2 floors. The Reaper nurses are faster, and there are lots and lots and lots of buzzsaws. Also, you'll be glad to know the defibrillators are back and just hiding at the end of corridors, so careful not to run into them either. The best strategy for taking on this zone is to head to the upper floor and circle around the whole level using telekinesis whenever possible. This will grab all the nearby shards from the lower level as well, while keeping you away from its many swords. It's also very easy to see the nurses coming up here, as you'll see the red sparks from their skates quite clearly. Again, using primal fear if they get too close. Collect all the shards for this zone and head back to the main area and... Wait, where'd everybody go? Oh well, go collect that 6th ring piece. Careful not to use speed boost right before grabbing it though, as this breaks the menu. But just double tap tab and then hit enter, and that should free you if you find yourself stuck here. Let's hop on another ambulance and head back to the hospital. Wait, where's that music coming from? Uh-oh. I know they've been trying to kill us, but I always feel bad doing this. push the nurse off the van and watch as her limp body rolls down the road and gets run over by the matron, however you say it. This is the boss fight that ruins speedruns. It can be very unpredictable and glitchy. The idea is that you jump between the vehicles using your teleport and using primal fear to knock out a nurse, then beat her with one of her own syringes, making sure the big lady runs over 4 of them to defeat her. However, sometimes you'll just not be given any new ambulances to jump to, and hitting a nurse with a syringe sometimes does nothing. On the bright side though, sometimes the nurses will just not attack you for some reason. If successful, the boss will cartoonishly trip and fall on her face, although you might not see it as the camera likes to pass right through other ambulances in the wall here. We're almost out of this level, just take the elevator, and I know it might be tempting, but don't try and teleport out of it. You may end up falling forever and having to redo the whole stage. Feel free to skip decontamination again though. We just killed so many nurses, I don't think it'll make much difference at this point. As we leave, Doug awakens to 100% of his potential, using the strongest power in all of video games, the power of cutscenes, stylishly comboing and beating up the 3 nurses in our way. You can't use this power for very long though, so the cutscene does suddenly end, and you'll be immediately chased by a bunch of nurses. But the cutscene didn't put your abilities on cooldown, so use whatever you have on hand to get around them and back through the portal. Things just didn't feel the same in that level without Daddy Malik there to chase us at the end, so we ask him where he was and he comes up with some lame excuse how there's apparently something more important to do. Feeling neglected, we acquire the power to turn invisible. Vanish is pretty self-explanatory and is overall fairly useful, especially when replaying earlier levels, but it is absolutely crucial for this next level. My favourite level. Mascot Mayhem. This is Joy Land, and no it isn't just my favourite level because of the Five Nights at Freddy's looking animatronics. If anything, the aesthetic with the castle and fireworks actually reminds me more of Nier Automata. Head to the right and through this hallway, but make sure to use Vanish to not trigger the cameras. Or don't, just speed boosting or teleporting also works. Here we are introduced to 2 of the members of the Joy gang, and our enemies for Zone 1, Lucky the Rabbit and Penny the Chicken. You keep giving me that side-eye, Missy, and I'm sending you to KFC. Use Vanish to pass by the cameras littered throughout the level, because triggering them teleports Lucky to you, and he'll speed boost to chase you. It is possible to escape him whether you go invisible, speed boost, or teleport away, or use Primal Fear. But there's so much other crap you have to deal with in this level, it's best to avoid unnecessary danger. Penny will fly about and try to land on you or in your way and throw eggs to stun you while calling out to Lucky where you are. Oh, and also she follows you while you're invisible as well. Clones of Lucky will also float around and throw bombs at you. It's quite the chaotic ordeal, but if you manage to get through it, pass back through the other hallway and Lucky will ask us where we think his name comes from. Uh-oh, we gotta get out of here. We've used too much copyrighted music in this video already. The YouTube bots will be here any second. Don't let them take our monetization! Heading into the castle will close the gates behind us, and the army of clones will stand there menacingly while we wait for the elevator. But if you don't want to wait for the elevator, there's a very handy glitch in Death Warp here. If you run under the gate and back out again, you'll get locked out of the castle. When the clones catch up to you and kill you, you'll find you respawn on the elevator, completely erasing having to wait around for the elevator and listening to Lucky's taunts. As you reach the bottom of the elevator, a knockoff GLaDOS tells you that you need to go through Zone 2 before you can get to Zone 3. Wow, how very insightful. This is where we meet the notorious PRG, who wants a piece of our RRBs. As you enter the second zone, Lucky will appear again to make a Snickers and Mad World reference in quick succession before running off all proud of himself. This area is similar to the first, except now there's a pig randomly bursting through walls, and you better believe this can instantly kill you if you're too close to the wrong wall at the wrong time. This zone is one of the most difficult in the game, rivaling the Manor of Deadly Decadence. Although it's possible to outrun Hangry fairly easily until he becomes out of breath and stops chasing you, it doesn't stop him or his 2 clones from teleporting straight to another wall and bursting through every single wall in the level in quick succession. So just when you thought you'd outrun him, he might appear right in front of you again, and just hope you don't accidentally run into Lucky along the way either. It's also very easy to corner yourself, as going invisible doesn't stop Hangry from tracking you with his Ribdar. Oh, also there's some traps in the main warehouse area. Getting past all of that means you can flip the switch to activate the power to Zone 3, but not before getting a very satisfying Looney Tunes-ass moment where flipping the switch electrocutes all 3 of the Joy gang. On your way into Zone 3, watch out for the clones on the production line that passes right over the walkway. I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure this place has more than a couple health and safety violations. As we go to enter Zone 3, the Joy gang will be back again to complain about their new withered looks. Hey, don't be mad at me. You're the idiot who left an exposed wire in a puddle then decided to stand on it. Besides, Penny, I don't know what you're complaining about. Nobody wants to fuck a chicken any... You know what? Scratch that last part. They'll chase you into Zone 3, and honestly, compared to the last zone, this one's a breeze. I can't quite explain it because it's all the same mechanics as Zone 2, but this just feels easier for some reason. Except for obtaining the final secret of this level. I haven't talked about collecting secrets until now, because most of the time they're pretty straightforward. Usually just knowing where they are from the maps I've been showing is enough, but in this case the final secret of this level is hidden behind a wall. So Hangry needs to break it down, making it unobtainable after you collect all the shards. Just stand here and wait for him to break down this wall, and you'll be able to get it if you're looking to S-rank the levels. Collect all the shards and... Malik, you're back! I've missed you! Chase me! Hit the reset button on this pillar and head back out to leave the area and activate the crusher. The Giorgio gang suddenly reappear behind you, just begging to be crushed by this giant metal press. Personally, I would prefer to be crushed by a goth girl's thighs, but to each their own. Damn, Malik's learned from the last time he tried to lock us in a room and used a door we can't just open.
That's not even their final form.
Wow, nice Dragon Ball reference. That meme was old like 10 years ago, bro. Besides, they're a puddle on the floor. What could you possibly... Oh, well, this hardly seems fair. Guess we should try crushing them again. Damn, that didn't work. Just made them A-pose. If I had a nickel for every time an enemy aggressively A-posed at me, I'd have 2 nickels. Oh, wait, make that 3. Welcome to the Joy Kill boss battle. They'll fire lasers at you, throw eggs at you, and Uwu pounces on you to try and kill you. You need to spam F on each of these 4 levers to activate them and power on the piston before you die. Sounds simple enough, but this fight can be pretty intense. Luckily, there's a few tips you can use to help you. First off, Primal Fear works on Joy Kill. I don't know if that should be obvious, but I definitely didn't think to try it on my first few attempts. Sometimes if you speed boost and teleport away far enough after they try and jump on you, they will just stop moving for a while for some reason. And lastly, a very interesting one, looking in the opposite direction to the triple laser beam sometimes stops it from killing you. I have no idea why. Now you just need to lure Joy Kill onto the piston platform and hope they stand in front of it before they shoot you in the face with a laser. Oh, and be careful, the piston can knock you back as well. If successful, they will get Terminator 2'd. Pray you didn't somehow die during that cutscene, because that can apparently happen, and head back towards the central area. Just ignore Malik, he seems to forget he can float, so he doesn't even try to fly over the gaps to try and catch up to you at all. Collect your 7th ring piece and... Okay, how the hell did you get out of that lava pit so fast? Scratch that, how are you even still functioning after that? Welcome back to another episode of Run Around in Circles and Wait for 2 minutes. This time, making sure to dodge lasers, eggs and more attempts to step on you. All because the damn door won't open. Wait, Agatha told us about this. If you can't open a door, just teleport through it. Do that and you'll be on the other side of the door and just need to wait for the 2 minutes timer to expire, so tuck yourself away in a safe corner and chill. This is the point in a speedrun where I like to take a free pee break without having to pause the timer. Once the timer is up, the door will open and you'll need to run into the door to activate the trigger so you can get onto the elevator and get out of there. Man, that level was unforgiving. A real test of your skill and proficiency with all your abilities you've learned. And it's really brutal to S-rank too. It's a nice challenge, which is why I like the level so much. But if you're trying to beat it fast, get the S-rank easily, or are struggling with the enemies, there is a better way to play this level. And that's to not play the level at all. No, I'm serious. If you teleport past each door that triggers the cutscene before a zone in this level, the Giorgio gang will straight up not spawn in, and you can do this for every single zone. Just make sure to leave at least 1 shard, otherwise you can softlock yourself. Head back to the cutscene trigger to activate the level properly, then collect up the last shard and voila! You've beaten the level without ever seeing the enemy. Ah good, the elevator's arrived. Head back to the portal, just avoid Malik and the thousands of Giorgio gang clones. Wait, where the hell did you come from? Oh well, let's just use Primal Fear or teleport past him and into the portal and... Wait, are we stuck in a cutscene? Damn it, cutscenes are so OP, please nerf. So after getting the shit kicked out of us, we die and it's game over. Until we're miraculously brought back to life to be beaten up some more. Malik, mid-conversation, decides he has better things to do and just up and leaves. As we pass out, we begin the mandatory lore and backstory segment and realise Malik disappeared because he wanted to be our tour guide. To your right, you'll see Doug being a terrible father and husband, neglecting his child and verbally abusing his wife. Real cool, Doug. But it's fine because they're crazy, right? You're not in the wrong here, are you? And on your left you'll find Doug's debauchery, depicting his affair with one of his secretaries. Was it worth it, Doug? Where is she now, eh? Carrying on straight ahead, you'll spot Cancer. No, not the constellation. It's Karma finally catching up to Doug. And if you look closely, you can see a desperate attempt at a blood ritual. Probably the first Google image result for how to atone for my sins, am I right? And here we are at the end of the road. Well, it is for Doug's wife, Elise, and daughter Tammy, that is. An accident that left them in a burning car sinking into the river. But Doug wouldn't know anything about that, would he? Definitely has nothing to do with Doug switching out Elise's bipolar medication for sleeping pills. Oh look, here's Tammy now, here to give us an exclusive insight on the situation. Tell us, Tammy, how does all this make you feel? Ooh, being mauled by your own daughter, that's gotta hurt. Wonder if it hurts more than drowning in a burning car. Well, that's it for the tour of Doug's past, but I'll see you all soon on the other side. Hangry yeets us harder than any man has ever been yeeted before through the portal, and Bierce gets all tsundere about us surviving. Not like I care about you or anything, I'm just glad you brought the ring piece back to me, Baka. Ruining our little bonding moment, Malik becomes not a door, and any love Bierce did have for us is thrown out the window as we let her arch nemesis into her safe space. What ensues is unironically a pretty awesome fight sequence. Bierce grabs Malik with her mind and throws him around in the same way I used to move things around with the physics gun when I played Gmod, before impaling him with soul shards. But killing the literal devil from the freaking Bible wouldn't be that easy, of course, as he performs some shadow clone jutsu and brings back all the previous level's enemies, including Agatha, who's very happy to see Bierce. I'm sure that was a stab of love. Malik proceeds to then undo all of our hard work by stealing all of the ring pieces we acquired thus far. And only after this does Bierce decide to inform us she has a ring piece of her own that's bound to her, which lets her sonic blast all the enemies away. Didn't think to do that a little sooner, Biercey? Now we're getting kidnapped and sent to Brazil, or as this game likes to call it, barely buried. After dragging us to a cliche horror movie location, Malik explains that hell works by Highlander rules. There can only be one ultimate evil, and everybody fights each other for eternity to claim that title. He also explains some of Bierce's backstory, but we can save that for my next Dark Deception video, which covers the timeline of events leading up to the game. What the fuck is that? Is that a fucking bear? Hey yo, don't fucking look at me like that. That's a weird looking fucking bear. This is Mama Bear, and if she's this ugly with the suit on, I don't want to know what's under there. Her explosive babies carry us to the kitchen, and no, that is not a figure of speech. These kids are fed a rich diet full of vitamins I, E, and D. Navi from Zelda, except way more helpful, comes along and zaps the crap out of all of them. Luckily not making any of them blow up in the process. And this is where the level actually begins. Left without any of our powers, stealth is no longer optional, so we have to sneak through the house and up to the attic without triggering any of the teddies. And by sneak it actually means just don't sprint in their rooms and don't get too close to them, because once one is awake you have no chance of outrunning them. There is one bear that is awake and roaming around before you can reach the attic, however, and he can be a nightmare to sneak by. Usually he appears here, but sometimes he's somewhere else completely randomly, but typically you'll want to wait here, and once he passes the corner and sees you, wait a sec, then walk out of his line of sight, and if done correctly, you can go around and pass behind him before he turns back around. Once you reach the passage to the attic, do not run still. For some reason the teddies will get triggered from anywhere and will sometimes kill you regardless of how far away you are. Grab the ring piece and perv on a conversation between Mommy Bear and Daddy Malik through this convenient safety hazard in the ceiling. Just as we start to wonder why we haven't heard from Bierce in a while, Malik chimes in to let us know he's inside our brain to provide commentary instead now, and informs Mama Bear of our location so she can send her babies to come hunt us down. Luckily, the power we got back from this shard is vanish, as we would be boned if it were literally any of the others. Go invisible to avoid the two scout teddies, and head back down to the bottom floor. You'll have to do a little shard collecting here. The safe way to do it is to go invisible, collect a few shards, and hide out of sight until it's usable again. But the fast way to do it is to go invisible, sprint around collecting as many shards as possible before it wears off, die, and then repeat, because the power will instantly be off cooldown again when you respawn. Just watch out while sprinting around. The teddies like to pretend they don't know exactly where you are at all times, causing them to freak out while you're invisible, often right in the way or on top of soul shards. Collect all the shards and you can carry on downstairs.
Mama Bear is coming to get you.
So no head? Once you reach the ground floor, you'll want to find the basement. And while it looks intimidating, you can actually just walk by the teddies. They don't mind. This place is apparently built like my first Minecraft house, because in the basement there's just a whole ass cave system. How Mama Bear got here so quickly, I have no idea, but now she'll chase you the rest of the way until you reach another ring piece and conveniently collapse the walls in behind you.
Your luck is unbelievable.
I'm actually with Malik on this one, especially when you realise the power we just obtained was Primal Fear, which we wouldn't be able to proceed without as we need it to disarm the bear traps, and proceed into Zone 2, an area that has no right being this large when you have none of your other powers. You'll notice the bear holding the ring piece runs off to the right as you enter the area, but this is bullshit, because if you head to the left instead, on the first right after this you'll instantly run into Mama Bear, and with her is the ring-bearing teddy you just watched run the other way. So vanish and use Primal Fear to stun her and blow up all of her teddies to grab the ring piece before anything else in this level, because this will give you telekinesis back, making this zone significantly less painful, turning it from a 20-minute walking simulator to around 5 minutes long. The teddies will usually stick close to Mama Bear, so try to avoid them as you collect all the shards, and if one sees you, it's unlikely you'll outrun it. So just go invisible or use Primal Fear to blow them up, but be careful as their explosion can kill you too. Be careful of the giant obvious bear traps, and also of the fact that the bears can still blow up and kill you while they're stunned. But on the bright side, stunning the teddies with the stun orb will sometimes leave them permanently stunned, and while this green stuff looks like acid, it's actually just jello and perfectly safe to walk on. Once you've collected both the ring piece and all the shards, you need to head back to the central area and get ready for the first boss battle of the level. Yep, that's right, this level not only has 3 zones but also 2 boss battles and a couple of chase sequences too. Combined with a couple of glitches we'll get into later, this final level is a slog, not to mention a real speedrun killer. As you leave Zone 2, Zone 3 is through the passage on the left. Where we're going, we don't need ladders. Now get ready for reverse whack-a-mole. Mama Bear will try to smack you from these various holes in the ground, and you just need to dodge them to survive, and use the rocks that dislodge to attempt forceful facial reconstruction surgery. As the fight goes on, Mama Bear will spawn trigger teddies you'll need to avoid by going invisible and blowing them up with Primal Fear, but throwing rocks at them also works. You'll be glad to know, however, that the best strategy for this fight actually avoids having to interact with children, because the rocks can still damage Mama Bear even while stationary, and the amount of damage Mama can take in one instance is not limited. What this means is stacking 3 rocks above this hole like so, and standing on the opposite end of the arena, means she'll pop her head up into all 3 rocks and be instantly defeated, saving you time, stress, and a call from Child Protective Services asking you why you were throwing rocks at babies. Now that's out the way and we've got our speed boost back, it's on to the final zone, which looks the most hellish this game about hell has looked thus far. This zone is massive and includes a couple of the most infuriating glitches in the game. So you see those 3 teddies with ring pieces? Well, only one of them is real and the other 2 are fake. Now you might be thinking, oh simple, I'll just Primal Fear right away and catch all of them to get the ring piece instantly. But you'd be wrong, because destroying multiple ring piece teddies at once makes the real one unobtainable for some reason. So you have to chase each one down individually far enough that you don't accidentally blow up another one at the same time. My strategy for making sure I don't break the level is to follow the middle ring teddy down the path and blowing it up first once I'm comfortable distance away. Then head back and turn left. The other ring teddy probably hasn't gone far, so follow him invisible until Primal Fear is back off cooldown, then blow him up too. Now you're free to roam the level as normal, collecting as many shards as possible along the way, and when you see the final ring teddy, blow him up and grab the ring piece. Luckily, if you die after collecting the ring piece, you won't need to do it again, but if you die before, you will have to deal with the fakers again. Now all that's left is to collect the remainder of the shards. Just be wary of impassable ledges, holes you can accidentally run into and get stuck in, and teddies above you that kill you if you walk underneath them for some reason. This level has ruined many speedruns, so enjoy! Once you're through this absolute nightmare, you just need to head all the way back and through the final passageway that's now unlocked. Down this big ass hole you'll find the catacombs and Navi just chilling here, and though it was fun while it lasted, she removes Malik from our brain. Mama Bear backflips into what I can only assume to be radioactive waste, because when she re-emerges she looks even more fucked up than before. Skipping this cutscene also leaves a ghost of her former self just standing there for the entire boss fight, which is pretty funny. Immediately Mama Bear is going to tell you to catch these hands, but this time there's a glitch that's in our favour, because standing right against the ledge makes it so she can't hit you at all. Then she will hop out of the pool and you'll want to stay opposite to her and when she spawns a baby in, get her close to it and blast that baby with Primal Fear. She'll then bait you into thinking the boss fight is glitched by T-posing, but this is actually one of her forms of attack. I call it the T-spin. Just keep moving, but if one arm does start to catch up to you, you have speed boost you can use to help. But it's best to save this, if possible, for when she pretends to be Sonic the Hedgehog. Repeat this process a couple times, and with that you'll have the last ring piece, and you'll finally have all of your powers back. Yippee! It's time to get out of here. Hop these chasms with teleport, and in one last ditch attempt to ruin your run, Mama Bear's disgusting chain chomp looking hand will burst through the wall, so book it in the opposite direction. If you're confident switching abilities quickly and chaining them together, this sequence is going to feel very satisfying. Speed boost, teleport past the teddy, break the barrier, then Primal Fear the other teddies that are approaching. Then crawl through the hole to get back to the cabin where Mama Bear has been listening to too much Limp Bizkit because she is breaking all of the stuff. Be careful not to get too close to the walls that were destroyed because they will still kill you even after they are already destroyed. Escape the cabin and Navi will reappear to open the portal for you. After letting Pierce know we're alive, she drops the Tsundere act and we have a cute little bonding moment while we wait for Chapter 5. And that's the whole game so far in under an hour. At this point I have no idea when Chapter 5 is coming, but I wanted to make this as a fun way for players to recap the events so far, seeing as it's been about 3 years since Chapter 4 was released, so some people may need a recap. But I also hope this video can be useful for any players of the game in general, whether they're looking to learn to speedrun the game, need help S ranking, or just want to learn all the fun tricks and glitches I've learned from my time in speedrunning this game. This is also a test run for a new series of videos I want to make, where I condense the plots of games into an easier to digest format. So if you like this style of video, let me know by liking or commenting, and I'll continue to improve my script writing, video editing, and voice acting to keep improving the quality of these videos going forwards. There's also going to be another Dark Deception video coming out in a similar style that covers the lore and the current timeline of events from before the game. Not sure when that will be finished, but subscribe and you'll see as soon as it's out. But that's enough from me. As always, if you want to catch more of me, I stream every weekday except Tuesdays here on YouTube at 8 PM UK time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.